So, Elliot,
Hello.
if your son had just won IEM Katowice,
Okay.
would you suggest he should shower afterwards?
No, I would suggest if he really wanted to be the best ever, he should shower less and be more of a cunt. There's a just for reference, because that is a hard C bomb 20 seconds into the podcast. We are referencing Mezzy's dad, or spilt_chips on Twitter.
Which may or may not be Messi's dad, allegedly.
It may or may not be Mezzy's dad.
Just for
but
the
he
sake
did.
of Messi's contract and vitality.
It could also be, I don't know, Zywoo's dad.
A phenomenal shit poster, maybe.
He said, "My boy has been quarter Fiona," and he meant final, and semi of major. Won Blast World final Cologne to Cato. If he just stops showering and acts like he can't, he could be the best UK player ever.
And that is how we get a take of the week.
That is take of the week. He's a brilliant follow, by the way. If you don't follow, he is. It just occasionally he just throws a genuine laugh out loud moment, and he gets like 5 likes, and it's such a shame.
What was the other one you just read out as you were looking? It's a very good one.
There's loads. I mean, he tweeted about Pimp the other day. Used to be fat, now you're slim. Legs like a bird and still boss-eyed. Love you though. Brilliant. Just a great account. A truly, truly great Twitter account. One of the best.
Yeah, I mean, I do like. I apologise for killing my family. I just heard the word Grammarly once too often.
Yeah, which is entirely reasonable, honestly.
He's just. I've just seen another one as I've scrolled.
Yeah, there's a thing you can go for hours on his Twitter account. It is brilliant.
The Queen drummer singing, "Please handle my body gently when you cut me down."
It's only like ever vaguely Counter-Strike related, which it makes it even better. I think if you keep reading, we will be here for the entire length of the podcast.
Which you could do, but there is some Counter-Strike to talk about.
Yeah, we've already spoiled who won, so
yeah. So let's I guess go back by a day, maybe 2, and let's start with the quarterfinals of Kato.
Mm-hmm.
Should we? Mongols Eternal Fire was fun.
As we said it would be. It was a good game. We got to see Jantares versus Techno on a big stage. It's all I've ever wanted.
Strange desire.
I stand by it.
I mean,
Techno 4K is ever since the first few games I watched him, I was like, this is my boy. Like, just look at the way he aims, man. He is cracked.
Well, you are a bloke with a child on the way. Like, that does make it a pretty. That could be all you've ever wanted, but no, it's Techno versus Zantares on a big stage.
Yeah, well, look, he's got a lot to live up to. He's not Jantares yet. I'm trying to get him there.
Okay, I'm just gonna. I feel like there should have been more emphasis on the child.
Project Jantares.
Not won much though, has he?
Well, not yet. It's coming. Jantares was so good at this event. Like, the fact that he hasn't won anything is just an indictment of the rest of his team. Like, if Jantares' career is actually just so sad because he's just one of the best players in the world and he's only ever played on crap teams.
Is that the crap team's fault though, or is that his fault?
Well, I don't think his English is good enough, but
surely
otherwise,
it's reasonable by now.
Well, probably, but I think he probably missed the boat a little bit now. Like he's like 27, 28 now.
Oh no, he's like. I feel like he's 28. I'm checking. He's 29.
Yeah.
Or I feel like he's going to be this level when he's 33.
I hope so.
And I feel like there's quite a few teams that would just take him.
Yeah, like if FaZe, they finally get rid of Rain, and they're like, well, we need somebody a little bit younger, but we still want a little bit of, experience. Like sh1ro feels like he feels like he should have been on FaZe at some point.
I mean, well, yeah. He's like the same with Tabson, isn't it? Really, there was like conversations about Tabson and FaZe quite a lot. Tabson and G2.
It's not the
G2
same. G2
kick Hunter, get Xantares.
See, that's fun.
Now we're talking.
Tabson. There was a point where Tabson was good, but he was good when he was like, he had all the resources and was like the last man alive all the time. And now he's that and he's bad. Whereas like Xantares was like, he is set up, but he's set up to be aggressive, not set up to be passive, which I always think is harder to be consistent.
I wouldn't say Tabson has all the resources.
Not anymore, but that's because he's
terrible.
Well,
you said now he's that. Like JDC.
Well, yeah, okay. Yeah, fine. Because they started giving resources elsewhere because Tabson was still getting resources and was just gradually getting worse. He's so bad now, it's so sad.
It is a bit shit.
He
probably could have won quite a lot, and he's just like he's barely at tournaments now.
I kind of think I liked Tabson. I really liked Tabson. I don't think he was ever a player who was going to win anything. He was just like, I think the best player.
If he'd have gone to a FaZe or G2, he would have won stuff.
But I don't think a FaZe or a G2 would ever side him because there's always somebody better at what he does. That's kind of like he was actually in the best place for him, which is the best player on a middling team, which is what Big were at the time.
Maybe.
Like there's a world where he becomes JKS and he becomes a good role player at that level. He was never going to be a star at that level, which is what Tabson was, and I think it'd be a shame.
He'd have had to change a bit, but
yeah.
We were talking about Mongols and Eternal Fire, and now we're talking about Germans. What's happened?
Well,
I think it's my fault, but let's go back. Right, did you expect that to be a 2-0?
I thought Mongols looked significantly better in the group stage than Eternal Fire. If you'd have told me it was a 2-0, I would have assumed Mongols are 2-0'd. But I could have seen 2-1 either way. I couldn't see Eternal Fire winning 2-0. Mongols were always going to get mapped in my head.
Yeah. Because I feel
but Eternal Fire's Anubis is so good that you kind of assume they'd get.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I feel like Eternal Fire were very flat on Anubis. And that kind of... It's kind of a concern. Because, like... I think... A mouse comparison is mildly lazy because of the ages of certain people on the team or whatever. But Thorin tweeted like Eternal Fire are the new mouse in arena games or whatever, and for the lazy comparison that like says what it says on the surface level, I think that might be a thing.
There's an element to them not being great on stage, but then there's also. It's Jota's first time on stage, and Eternal Fire are the 5th best team in the playoffs, so them losing in the quarterfinals is, feels correct.
Yeah.
You could call... They're not... I wouldn't call them... I wouldn't say they choke on stage, because I don't actually think they're better than Mongols, Vitality, Spirit, Na'Vi.
That's the thing, who have they played on stage? I thought this would be 2-1 Mongols because I thought Eternal Fire's Anubis was maybe that strong that they'd just win that map. But I expect them to lose the Mongols. If we go back, when else have they played on stage? Because the only one that's jumping out to me is Copenhagen Major last year.
Copenhagen, that's the one. I think it was FaZe.
It wasn't FaZe because they had.
Was it Vitality or something?
I can't remember. Spirit, then Vitality. It might have been Vitality, which again, legit team for them to lose to. When else
that's
have they
what I
played
mean.
On stage?
They don't really choke on stage because they're not. You're not expecting them to win these games. Or at least I wasn't. Maybe I'm delusional. I
think it's just that thing of raised expectations, and then It's judging them for what they don't do rather than what they are doing, and what they are doing is achieving more than the Turkish roster has ever achieved, more than they've ever achieved. if they don't kick on past being the 5th best team in a stats playoffs, is that a bad thing? Because there are teams that they could have beaten that weren't in them. Could they beat G2? Absolutely, weren't there.
Yeah.
Could they beat FaZe? Absolutely, weren't there. Liquid?
Yeah, Liquid.
Absolutely, weren't there. Like,
well, that's the thing. Like, judging someone, oh, you choke on stage. Like, you don't make the stage. What are you talking about? Fuck off.
Yeah,
So for reference, it was Na'Vi they lost to, and they took them to overtime on that one. So
right, so they lost to the champions. Sick. Like, so this is the thing. Like, it feels kind of unfair to say it, and maybe it becomes a thing if they end up playing like Pain in a quarterfinal. We can talk about it then, but I'm not too concerned.
I'm not concerned because I think 5th best team at the event is about right. Like, it's not like Mouse. You kind of expected that at one point they would win on stage, and they never did. Whereas I'm not really expecting that from Eternal Fire. Like, it would be really cool if they did. But I mean, this is Major's like a journeyman in-game leader. Like, he's been around for a long, long time. Jantares is a genuine superstar. Wicadia, I think, is the concern. Wicadia looked like his right-hand man at first, but he's really up and down at the moment.
Wicadia is just like average.
Yeah, he looked a lot better than average when Eternal Fire looked like they might do something.
He still has some rounds where he looks fucking insane. Like, there was one, I think it was on Anubis. We just one-taps a guy running out of A main. I'm pretty sure. I think it's the Map 1 Round 4 highlight on HLTV. Pretty sure it is. Like, again, the bloke just looks insane sometimes. But I do think, like, he's not a mind-blowing player.
No.
He's a player that looks nice, and I'm trying to think of a football equivalent. He's Leon Bailey. That's what he
harsh.
is.
That's really harsh.
No.
Kai Havertz. Kai
Havertz does not look fucking nice. It's like
he does
Bambi
look
on
nice.
ice.
No, he's really tidy. He just doesn't do a whole lot.
He might look nice if you swing that way, but he's like Bambi on ice with a ball at his feet.
Nah, he's just like tall left-footed players always look really graceful.
We have differing definitions of graceful, but like, no, because like Leon Bailey, flair player, right, can be slightly shit. Like, by the way, that Anubis thing, which I'm saying he had this really nice round, that was a 3K. He got 9 kills on the map. Right.
Andros Townsend.
Fine, he's Andros Townsend.
2 screamers a season and nothing else.
But Wicadia is just Turkish Andros Townsend.
Yeah.
Brilliant. We've come to a conclusion. But yeah,
so did Eternal Fire's run. Ta-ra.
Eternal Fire losing Anubis was disappointing. Mirage was a fucking heater. And what we were saying about Eternal Fire maybe being chokers, I feel like getting a win in the Spodek's going to be really good long term for the Mongols.
Yeah. I mean, they're
really,
super
really
young.
good.
Like, they're still so young, the Mongols. And, yeah, I mean, that was just a fun game to watch. And, like, Eternal Fire came off second best. I kind of thought they would. Mongols probably, like, are the 4th best team in the world at the moment. They're like, actually right up there now. You don't look certain.
I mean, I feel like we're at a point in Counter-Strike where saying any team is the best team in the world, is the X team in the world past number 3 is just kind of pointless.
Yeah, fine.
Because I really do think we're at a point where it's just like, on their day, FaZe beat the Mongols. On their day, G2 do. On Mongols' day, Mongols beats them both. On Eternal Fire's day, maybe Eternal Fire beats all 3 of them. Like, I feel like we're at such a point now where, like, those teams are just... We've got our S-tier teams, and then there's just, like, 6 teams in the A-tier under them.
I think
that can all beat
4.
each other.
I think 4. Eternal Fire Mongols face G2.
I'm gonna be honest. When I said that, I forgot that Mouse made a silly.
Yeah,
So Mouse are out of that.
Mouse are probably out of that, and I don't know what other team you put in there. Gamer Legion, Falcons in a few months.
Well, yeah, Falcons in a few months. I'd put in there. Liquid, definitely not. I was just guessing it is.
Yeah, I
think
it's
probably
4.
should have been 5, but it's actually 4 because Mouse are fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Maybe Gamer Legion eventually.
I do think Eternal Fire are the least likely of those 4 to win an event.
Yeah.
And I think
they're the most likely.
The other 3 I could see winning a major this year. I cannot see Eternal Fire.
They're the most likely to like win in the quarterfinal and then play one of the S tier teams and look terrible
and lose. Yeah,
exactly. Just get battered.
No, actually, G2 are also highly likely to get absolutely battered by Vitality.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
They're going to get fucking dumpstered in a big game at some point in the next 4 months, and it's going to be really fucking fun.
But they're also like going to win something.
I hope
almost
Snacks
by
cries.
accident. Yeah, Snacks ain't going to cry.
Yeah, I'd just like to see it. Spirit VP, Flammus wasn't playing. Can't really be asked to talk about it. Is that okay?
Yeah, it would. Again, I still think it would have been okay if Flammus was playing. It would have been better to watch.
Right, on to the semi-finals.
Then they got more than 2 rounds.
I've moved on already. I've moved on. Right. Vitality Mongols. It just came crashing down for Mongols, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
But I mean, this Vitality team's really fucking good.
Yeah, I think as a spectator, it's not always easy to see how good Rops is. But I think there's a reason all the pros rate him higher than fans do. And I think he does just make players around him play better. He doesn't make any mistakes, I think, is the thing with Rops. I don't know if you've seen, I think it's either Maui, I think it's Maui Snake. There's a guy who does stats for him that's like bozo deaths and clawback kills.
Yeah.
I don't think Rops ever has bozo deaths, and I think he gets a lot of clawback kills. I have the stats to back this up, but that's just a gut feeling. Like it feels like he just never dies untraded.
Yeah, he doesn't make mistakes, and I feel like he probably does just have a fear factor around him on the server.
Yeah.
I think he's probably one of those players where you're like, oh, Rops is still alive somewhere. We're not going to fucking kill him.
If you're in a 4v2 and you see it's Rops and zyro, you're probably like, all right, let's lock in now. Rather than, all right, don't make a mistake now. It's like, all right, now the real round begins.
That's one of them where it's just like, you're on the CT side, all 4 of you, get off the sites, go and stand in your spawn, and then all 4 of you deathball a retake. Just don't give them any fights.
I think that'd be
it out.
That'd be quite interesting to see a team actually do that. Like in a man advantage, just all play like nowhere near the sites.
Yeah, can you imagine it on Mirage? Like you just see the B anchor and the A anchor just like disappear down into CT spawn,
or just like deep in kitchen. Yeah, like
we should chill here, wait until the bomb is planted, and then go and.
And then Rops walks through kitchen and sprays you all down. You look like
Rops is stood in one of the smokes, stood behind you, 4K spray down. Sick. All right.
No, that's about what we have to say about that game. I mean that was as one-sided as a semi-final can realistically be. You're probably not going to see 13-3, 13-4 in a semi-final. 13-7, 13-9 is pretty convincing.
Yeah, and it was one of those games, and it like, when you're watching a game, and I think the last map of the finals, one of those where, I mean, kind of different, but it's one of those where I was watching it with someone who hasn't watched Counter-Strike in a while. And he's like, oh, they're coming back. I was like, no, 13-11. Like, it's one of those games where you just look at it and you're like, nah, it's just 13. It's anywhere between 13-6 and 13-10. Like, this isn't really in doubt. I'm not concerned in the slightest that I will be watching a third map or the Mongols winning a map. I say concerned. That probably would have made me quite happy. But yeah,
That
you
is
just know how
concerning.
it's going, and Vitality are just very good, and I think a big part of that, honestly, is Messi as well.
Yeah, I mean, he's
Like,
so good.
I mean, there's another tweet that his dad allegedly retweeted, that I'm it's slightly political, so I'm not going to read it out. It's in French. You can go look for it. Um, it might be true. It might be true. That's all I'm
It
saying.
it was concerning the departure of another player and Messi's improved performance.
Yeah,
You can work it out from there.
yeah.
Um,
Figure it out.
like I will say, Messi. I think he was their bottom fragger on both the semi and grand final. But he's another one who he's genuinely selfless and
He's in the roles to be their bottom fragger.
yeah. So but he has been like second or third quite regularly recently. And as soon as he's not, they just win because if your worst player, if your bottom fragger is Messi, you are ridiculously stacked.
Messi, who could be like, Messi is probably what Tabson probably would have become.
I think Messi's quite a bit better than Tabson. Honestly.
What do you mean now, or
No,
prime
I
Tabson?
mean prime Tabson. I actually think Messi's quite a bit better.
Eh,
I think Messi would be. I think he'd be one of the better players on any team outside. Like he's probably the best player on any non-S tier team. Maybe not quite actually, but like he's ridiculously good. For like the last few months, he's been one of like Vitality's better riflers. Like,
sorry, I just.
are you okay? What's going on? He's just, for those of you who don't have audio, he's just sort of, I don't know if it's something I said, but he's just sort of staring.
No, I'm just very confused by something.
Was it that PGL have changed the Krakow location?
Yeah, it just got sent to me. I swear, when I was getting the HLTV pages up for the stories, that was like a very recent story. And
Yeah,
now
it's
just
7
being
minutes ago.
cancelled.
Yeah.
No, but like them announcing it was recent or something, and now it's being cancelled.
They've announced They announced Krakow as the first event of 2027, which I'd like to say is, I don't need to know what's happening in 2 years. You know what I mean? But it's now been booked. It's now been cancelled.
5 to 11 this morning for us, and it's been cancelled. Okay, right. I'm going back to
been cancelled on the same day.
Fuck you, Jack, for confusing me. Anyway, Na'Vi versus Spirit. I have a feeling, right, this year, group stage games, Na'Vi might get the better of Spirit. Stage games, don't know when Na'Vi are going to beat Spirit.
Yeah, which is weird because it doesn't feel like Spirit should be. It feels like they should be a team who are worse on stage. I don't know if that makes sense. It feels like they should have a weakness, and it should be that they're not as good on stage, but they just kind of are.
I don't know. I think they do kind of have that. Like, I think we've seen it in games that they definitely do have that. World Final was one. The final of Kato was one. Like, Spirit should never be 3-0'd. It just shouldn't happen.
No.
They have too much going on to say they should ever be 3-0'd, because you don't really see them get 2-0'd.
No, not very often.
So you definitely shouldn't see them get 3-0'd.
To be honest, I don't really see them lose very often.
Well, yeah.
It takes an absolutely Herculean effort to beat Donk on one map.
But I feel like the fear factor of Donk becomes too much for Na'Vi when it's on stage.
Yeah, I mean, it is. He is terrifying. He is legitimately terrifying.
The kid got 55 kills against them.
he's like, I'm not even sure it's a fear factor thing. I think he's just incredible. Like, I don't think Na'Vi are playing like with it. I thought both teams sort of didn't play very well in the semi.
Well, they tend to make each other play worse.
Yeah, But then it just comes down to like individual firepower, and nobody beats Donk at that. You just don't, like,
No, like Bit is their closest, and Bit couldn't dream of being as good as Donk. And I mean, Bit probably struggles to dream anyway, but that's a completely separate point.
Bit was pretty damn good in this series.
Yeah, that's fine. He still
really
can't tie
good.
his shoelaces or cut up his own food. So
Look, the thing is, if he plays well, they give him a nice new box of his favourite flavour of crayons. So he plays well. He was excellent in this series. He just nobody else could live. Like, the only player on Na'vi who can actually live with the firepower of Spirit is probably Bit. And it comes down to system versus firepower. And like we just said, both teams sort of broke down like systematically, and then it just becomes. That's probably what Spirit want in this game. Like, they want the game to be scrappy because Donk will just win. Like,
because the thing is as well is like man for man. Like, if you were doing it on pure who's better than who, right? Alexa B and Chopper, probably pretty equal, right?
in terms of firepower,
Yeah.
I think Alexi B is probably a better fragger, to be honest.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, sure, but in that sense, if you were just looking at it on paper, you'd probably go 3-2 to Na'vi in that one. The difference is that Donk makes up about 4.
Yeah, like,
and
exactly.
sh1ro is considerably better than Wonderful as well.
Yeah, the wonderful things, like, it feels like the pendulum has swung too far the other way. People now think he's rubbish, which is just like insane.
I don't think Wonderful is rubbish. I just think he's in the same category as Brokey, and unfortunately, he's not as good as Brokey when he's good.
But his floor is higher, I think. His floor's higher than Brokey.
His floor is higher. They miss the same type of shots when they're both playing badly, and they are some of the most frustrating misses you'll ever see. It's just that Brokey makes himself look worse because he also goes for shots that you just shouldn't, like.
He does. He AWPs like David Luiz defends.
No, but like the difference is between them. It's like if you're watching Wonderful on a bad day, all you say is, "How have you missed that?" If you're watching Brokey on a bad day,
what are you doing?
Why the fuck have you gone for that?
What are you doing?
Yeah. So
I love it when he plays hot with an AWP.
Oh yeah, insane.
I know, it's so good.
Absolutely brain dead. Absolutely just works half the time.
Box office AWPing. I'm so on board for it every time he does it.
So Wonderful. I'm not sure what I think about him, if I'm being honest. It feels like he's had a string of high-profile games he just hasn't played that well in, and it feels like it is becoming a problem now.
I think he's not supposed to be. I mean, I guess he is, but like when they won the major, he was. I don't think he was significantly better or worse than he is now, and the public perception was completely different. I don't think Wonderful's drop off is because when Na'vi play well, he's going to get high ratings because of the way he plays. He's passive. Like, passive players, their rating goes up when their team goes up.
Yeah, fine. But I do think he's probably at a point now where if there was a better alternative that they didn't think would fuck the team's chemistry, they'd probably be looking at him a bit more seriously.
Maybe. I'm not sure
because
how many players like that even exist. Though.
Because that is the thing, right? Well, maybe they'd change it up. Like, I mean, we've still only really got one tournament to base it off, but Jambo's a little more aggressive. He can change the way that Na'vi play and do a similar job as well. Like, it depends how highly Blade rates him, I guess. But I'll tell you one thing, it won't be fucking simple.
It definitely won't be simple.
Pretty confident it won't be simple because Blade did an interview where he's spoken about team chemistry, and that seems like a very thinly veiled way of saying simple would kill this team.
Have you seen the video of him driving around in a Ferrari?
Do you know what? I didn't click on it because I just don't care.
Yeah.
I did see it, but like, why? Why should I give a fuck? The tweet came with something like, "Oh, Simple's going to spend $50,000." Okay, if he wishes to spend $50,000,
all I thought about it, I was
so.
like, yeah. To be honest, fair play is what I'd do.
Yeah,
I
it
earned
looked like
millions of pounds off this game.
It looked like the sun was out. He's in a supercar. Like,
Yeah.
what the like, I'm sorry, mate. Don't come back.
Yeah, put it this way: if it was between that and playing on this team, I'm like, yeah, come on, I'll take the sun and the car, please.
The thing is, as well, it's like, do we need to see him come back and potentially ruin a legacy? I'm fine with him not doing that.
Yeah, you know when like Drogba came back to Chelsea, it was just sad.
Like, he's already damaged it enough with Falcons. So let's just remember the good things. And speaking of good things, Vitality fucking dumpstered Spirit in the final, and I had a great time watching it because I do not like Spirit. Spirit do my nutting because as soon as fucking Dunk plays badly, they are fucking terrible. And
I mean,
I find them too reliant. So fuck them. It's good when they lose.
I think it's really fun when teams are reliant on one player.
No, boring.
I think it's more boring. It's more boring to watch a good system work. I want to see individuals shine. I want to see Donk get 4 kills every round. I don't want to see each player on the team get 1 kill. That's just dull.
I mean, fine, but it's a bit caveman.
Yeah, I am a caveman.
Yeah, well, we're not all less developed.
Look, what's more exciting to watch? An ace or a team ace? It's always an ace. It's always more interesting to watch.
No, it's always the team ace.
No, that's only fun on Valorant because it says team ace. On Counter-Strike, it's boring. What you want is, like, we're talking, would you rather watch Prime Astralis or Prime Donk? And the answer is always Prime Donk.
No, but you're going, like, one extreme to the other. Like, Vitality still have players that pull off some pretty nice highlights. The difference is that, like, if zews has a bad game, they do have Rops, Flames, and Mezzy. Like, what's Zontic's going to do? Tickle their feet?
Well, that's boring. I don't want star players to get, like, bailed out by their support players. You should have to, like, put up or shut up.
I like how you just called Rops a support player. That's good.
He's just the best support player in the world. That's what he is. Like,
what? So all 4 Vitality players that aren't zews are support players now?
Yes. That's how it should be. They're not, but that's how it should be. All 4 players but Donk on Spirit are support players. And that's much more fun. It's just more fun to... like. Donk has to put up or shut up or they lose. And he wins all the time.
Right. Spirit must be so pissed off that Magic's played well in that fucking major final. Because he's rubbish. Like, Magic's shit.
No, he's fine. He's so fine. Bad. I'm not having the Magic slander. I'm sure they're not pissed off that he won them a major final.
Well,
fine. And I'm sorry, I will not allow any Magic slander. After the video that came out of the sports psychologist talking to sh1ro about not bottling the major final, and Magic's is there just like fucking licking a lollipop, like that picture of like Wayne Rooney or something. Just nothing going on. Does not care. Cold as ice. Pure aura.
I won't lie to you. After our friend Charlie explained to me the lore behind the bag that Magic's carries around when he's at events, I hope he gets kicked and never gets on a team again. And I shan't elaborate.
The video of him just like, well, sh1ro's like trying so hard not to bottle it in the major, and Magic's is just like kick back, doesn't care.
I mean, that video is because
it's an insane aura farm.
It's confirmed everything I've ever said about sh1ro, man. That guy's a fucking bitch. He's a bitch.
No comment. No comment.
He's an absolute fucking bum. That's the other thing with Spirit. I've never liked sh1ro, so that makes me like them a bit less.
He is like the least. He's like the most auraless superstar. Like he's really good, but he just has no. Like, you're never scared when you see like when people talk about Donk and sh1ro. It's like no, it's Donk and friends. It's not Donk and sh1ro. It's Donk and friends.
I do like Zontix though because he's a psychopath.
I don't like him. I don't like anyone who does name in the head.
when it comes out that Zontix is a mass murderer, it will be the least surprising thing to ever happen. Like, he kills babies. Like, he is absolutely psychotic, and he's great for it.
He doesn't shoot him in the head, though, does he? I can't rate anyone with such a low headshot percentage. I'm sorry.
I mean, fine, I kind of agree with that, but I do have a clip on my phone of Zontix saying that the crowd in London lacked critical thinking, and sometimes if I'm a bit sad, I'll just listen to it because it makes me laugh every time.
It is like a really good critique of the crowd, isn't it? Like, you lack critical thinking. I need to start using that more. Like, have you not listened to our podcast? Do you lack critical thinking?
It's just so
and then they join, and it's just you calling sh1ro a bitch.
Calling sh1ro a bitch, asking if Donk could fight 9 pandas.
That was a good episode.
And whether or not Messi is supportive of certain nations in certain wars. Like,
let's not get into that.
Let's not get into that. But yeah, Vitality, think they might have saved Counter-Strike. I think they might have done it.
Because as they start winning everything, it's just going to be boring as well.
No, but they're not going to start winning everything. Like, they're not going to do that, because they still have, like, Apex calling. And as much as I think Apex is a perfectly fine IGL, there's still going to be a game where it's not working out for him, and, like, he's just, like...
Yeah. So that's the thing with Apex. That's the thing with Apex as an in-game leader. I believe he actually is a good caller, but, and this is a big but, I don't think he's a good in-game leader because he's a fucking nutcase.
No, he's like one of them where it's like, it's going really well, and then he'll have like 2 rounds in a row where he just like whiffs a kill, and then like fucks up a call. Rest of the game, he's gone. He's gone. Until, like, I don't know, like, Messi gives his stomach a rub or something and puts another coin in the meter. Like, he's just absolutely gone.
Yeah, I think he is too emotional to be... Well, I mean, he's clearly not too emotional to be a leader, because he's fucking won everything there is to win, so... You know, he is just clearly a good leader. It's just so antithetical to everything I think
He's also the hardest person to do the what were we calling it when we were in Abu Dhabi, when I would tactically go for a smoke during
I can't remember
I can't remember what we were calling it, but it was just a vibe check. We were just calling it a vibe check.
Vibe check, yeah,
we'd just go and vibe check the teams by me having a smoke and trying to see if they were shouting at each other or laughing. Apex is fucking impossible to tell how he's feeling after a game, because he's either absolutely screaming at someone or no, to be fair, yeah, you are right, he is just absolutely screaming at someone.
He's just always screaming.
Like, if they've shit on someone, he'll come out laughing, and then a minute later you just hear him shouting, and he's like, we fucked up that round. Like, what are you on about? You're 13-4, man. Like,
he's great. Like, he is great. I will say as well, the one thing I've always admired about Apex is when Vitality lose, he is one player who will talk to fans. Like, Vitality lost. I remember it was in Katowice 2 years ago, because the only place open for food was McDonald's. So we ended up going to McDonald's after the game, and Apex,
man, so good.
And Apex walked in, I think, with some of the other Vitality players. There were a bunch of French fans who, like, you know, said hello, and the other players, they were fucking distraught.
Walked off.
They were distraught, but Apex like sat down, had a conversation with them for like 15 minutes, and he was like really open.
I forgot about that. Like,
yeah, like I actually got quite a lot of respect for him for that, because it's not easy to do when you've just lost.
Mate, there's other things I will not talk about publicly that I know Apex has done. He's a stand-up bloke. Like, genuinely. It really pisses me off when people say bad things about him, because I'm like, you clearly have no idea who this fella is. Like, fuck you.
And you have no idea how much it hurts us to, you know, say nice things about Frenchmen.
Like, he's French. He's just a good person, though.
But, and he has won everything there is to win as a player and as a leader. Like, he is just, as weird as this is to say, objectively a good in-game leader.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
So, big ups to him. And you know what? If a best of 5 final isn't a full best of 5, then I want it to be a 3-0. And he achieved that. So
Yeah,
good for him.
3-1's so auraless. Winning 3-1
Well, it
isn't
is
canon.
right. It is right because the best Counter-Strike or the best CS2 game so far probably Na'Vi Vitality in the Cologne final.
Mm.
But it's just auraless because it's a 3-1.
Yeah, 3-1s
I don't care that Mirage map happened that was insane. It was a 3-1.
3-1s.
Like
3-1s don't count.
Like because of that, if that was 3-2, might have been the greatest Counter-Strike match of all time. But instead, or at least in Cologne, instead it will remain FaZe Na'Vi in Cologne.
Yeah.
Which was
FaZe Ents at the end of CS:GO is really good. That was a best of 3.
Was that just, like the
Dallas ridiculous
semi-final?
ancient one? Yeah, the ridiculous ancient.
Dallas semi-final, I think that was very good.
Yeah.
So yeah, Vitality won Cato. I'm quite happy with that. Let's move on to a couple smaller stories. We've got some qualifiers. I don't know if you saw, but you'll be happy to know that Imperial beat MIBR in the final of the South American qualifier for Blast Open Lisbon.
Great.
So you won't have to see MIBR play Counter-Strike.
Come on!
I
do have to watch Imperial, but that's fine.
Do you actually know who Imperial's fifth is, by the way?
I'm not sure I know who their third is.
So...
okay, I've just had a look. Che Jesus.
Yeah.
Or Che Jesus, probably.
Who the fuck is he?
I've heard of him. What have I heard of him? He was on Fluxo before, that's what I heard of him.
No idea if he's any good, but I like his name.
Seems half decent from his note. I mean, that obviously means nothing. He's got decent ratings domestically.
Yeah.
I'm always happy to see a new player in Brazil because I'm bored of seeing fucking
And you know
Turtle.
what, right? Do you know what's the better part about all this? At least there's going to be an Imperial team at a Tier 1 event that stands a chance of being competitive.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like, they kept saying, like, oh, actually, the Imperial men's team would never do this. Like, well, they did beat MIBR. I mean, that's...
Yeah.
And Pain. And Fluxo.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to say any more than what I've said. Because, again, I'm waiting till after Cluj. But, let's see, shall we?
Yeah, let's see.
I
just kind of... I don't know. I'm happy to see MIPR not at an event for once. I might actually watch it.
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather it was Pain because I just think they're quite fun. But yeah, like
Pain. I've been hurt by Pain too much. I'll refuse to watch them anymore. So
the European qualifier for Open, sadly, Astralis won. Worse.
No. Oh, you're looking at the Open qualifier. Oh, for Lisbon. Oh, I don't care about that.
For Blast Open Lisbon. Well, we're talking about qualifiers, so we have to talk about Blast as well, you knobhead. Sadly,
Charles won, so I don't want it.
They beat James Paravision in the final.
That is disappointing.
Which is gutting. Game Illusion, by the way, Paravision beat Game Illusion and Heroic on the way to the final. Like, they've got a really good record since this team was formed. And again, doesn't it suck that Tier 2 and 3 has been completely murdered by Valve because this team might just be quite good.
They'd certainly be better than half of the teams that get to go to events.
But at least teams have sent an open letter, so let's see if that does anything. Probably not, which is why we're not going to talk about it any more than that. But 22 teams have reached out to Valve, said it fucking sucks. You know our thoughts. We agree, hopefully. Astralis beat 9 and 500, by the way. So they had a fraudulent run, and Paravision, I don't know, unfortunately used it all up, I guess. So that's Blast qualifiers. There's still NA and Asia left to be played. NA concludes tomorrow, and Asia is on Sunday, so I imagine we'll talk about those next week, just for the sake of continuation. Dallas qualifiers have also happened.
No.
And Astralis lost to BC Game, which
that is correct.
I would be really annoyed about if they didn't have Cypher on their team.
I wouldn't be annoyed at this. For a start,
Okay,
Astralis losing is always funny.
I'd be annoyed about it if it was like the old BC game team that was just like this bizarre mix of players that should have retired.
That would be even
ago.
funnier. That would be. Imagine if Astralis was a Guardian in an open qualifier, a close qualifier in 2025.
Okay.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, no, it would be funny, but it would just be annoying that there's a spot taken up at an event by people that will that should be relegated to show matches by now.
I mean, FlyQuest are at events.
To be fair,
what's your point?
The way Astralis play, they should be in show matches anyway. Like they are.
Yeah, no.
They're so bad.
Device Down and Cadian are actually just show match players now.
I can't.
They should be carrying the trophy out.
I genuinely can't get over how bad Astralis are. They are really bad. Like, who's in that Blast Lisbon event? Oh, they go out dead last. I'm not even joking. They will go out last.
It's them or Imperial, probably.
Well, there'll be two. Wait, there's 4 dead last spots. They are going out dead last.
They are fucked.
I promise you, they are out dead last. Like, they are fucking rubbish, man.
They are really bad. It is so amusing to me to see Device play this badly, and there's still people who say like he was the best.
No, but Device still plays well in half the games, and he's just like he's their best player, which ain't saying much actually.
When I've watched them, Stair's been their best player, which again, not a good sign.
Well, yeah, he's. Oh, I don't want to talk about Charlotte anymore. They haven't qualified for Dallas. There's another chance for them to, but it means that one of them or Heroic won't be there. I know
or both.
Team... Oh well, or both. Yeah.
If
but
Bet
I know
Boom make it,
I would much. Oh, Bet Boom's still in the race. In that case, I'd much prefer Bet Boom or Heroic, but probably Heroic because Bet Boom will guaranteed be playing in with a standing in Dallas. There is absolutely no fucking way that they get 5 players on a plane to Dallas.
There's 4 teams left in it as we speak, but Metasport are currently 1-0 down to Heroic. I suspect Heroic will beat Metasport, and then Astralis have to play Bet Boom, and then the winner of Heroic Metasport for a spot.
Well, in the nicest way, then, I hope Astralis beat Bet Boom because I don't want to see a team with a stand-in, and Heroic will beat Astralis because Astralis are dog shit.
Garbage.
Falcon's
already qualified, which is amusing.
Oh, good for them. Let's see if they can actually get a win. We've also got 3D Max benching Djoko for body.
Seems bad.
Yeah, I don't really get why they've done it. Is body going to IGL?
Possibly.
Because Maka was doing it before, right? And
yeah.
I'd say that under his leadership, 3D Max have probably been overachieving. Under Body's leadership, all I've seen is teams stagnate. And maybe that'll be different with a French-speaking team, but I don't get this one.
Look, 3D Max before, I don't know if you remember, was it 3D Max? Or it's when they were Double Pony and they finally got some funding.
Heat, maybe?
Oh, Heat, yes. And they finally got some funding and decided they were going to cut somebody for Jax because he was a bigger name.
Oh, yeah, that was literally like a shirt signing.
Yeah.
Not a shirt signing, shirt selling.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Which I don't think makes any sense, but okay. And I get this feeling this is somewhat similar. It's like, oh, he's a bigger name than what we've got, so he's probably better. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. Maybe I'm wrong.
I mean,
I like Body.
You know my thoughts on 3D Max because they're a French team, so I hope they fail.
But they are decent.
But they are decent, and failing through something that to me seems a bit nonsensical is a bit sad. So yeah, I don't get it, especially after what's just happened with Fnatic, where he clearly wasn't very good. And the last thing that we have to talk about is Zeus just fucking
opening a can.
He did a nice little shoot interview, and he was shooting on Twistzz, which some things have been denied by a Liquid community manager. Of course they have.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly.
Like the thing is, right? Unless they had a total breakdown in their relationship. Do you remember that like documentary thing that Liquid put out after the team with Cadian and Twistzz was signed? Did you watch that?
No, I didn't.
It was of their PC-less retreat with Mind Body Baldy. He made them all talk about their feelings and dig a car out of a ditch. But while they're talking about their feelings, Twistzz starts crying about how like Zeus is a brother to him and like he should have never left him or some stupid shit like that. And grow up, you want a major. So if Twistzz had this kind of relationship with Zeus, for Zeus to lie, it must be a complete total breakdown in relationship, which could have happened, right? But that
Which
NBA
is more likely that he's telling the truth.
But that NBA thing still seems like a strange lie.
I don't think it's a lie. I think
that's like really trying to bury someone. Like he must have had some reason to believe that Twistzz had used liquid funds.
There's probably some stretching of the truth, is what I would say, from both sides. And it could be misunderstandings, or it could just be true. I mean, I don't know Twistzz as a guy. I don't think he hasn't really come out and denied anything. None of his former teammates seem to have come out and denied anything either. So it obviously doesn't mean anything. They're probably just trying to ignore it and hope it goes away. But
it's ignoring it's probably the best thing to do, to be fair.
Yeah, and it's just like there's some like really weird like snippet. Like, I only saw the snippets that somebody said, and it's like apparently his girlfriend made some roster moves. So there's no way that's true. His girlfriend isn't making roster moves on Liquid. Let's fucking be serious for a second.
No, I mean she might have input into the ways that he thinks about certain things because she's like very heavily involved in CS, or at least used to be, and if it involves like geographic changes in their life, then honestly she probably should get to have some say.
Yeah, in the same, like she probably has some input on, like Twistzz probably says like, what do you think about this, and she says, and that's not her making a decision. Like, that is
if she knows these people as well, like, you know, let's say that because she's at events a lot, and if I'm right in saying she used to work for ESL, right?
I believe so, yeah.
So, like, she knows these people. She knows him very well. Like, if there's a point where it's like he could be on a team with, I don't know, I don't want to say a random player, but a certain player, and he's like, oh, what do you think about that? Do you think that might work? And she's like, well, I don't know. I feel like you've got personalities that might clash. Like, then I think he's fine to listen to that.
Yeah.
Like,
it doesn't seem... That's why when I say stretching of the truth, that's kind of what I think. It's like, what you're saying is that his girlfriend has made the decision. What's probably happened is that he's spoken to his girlfriend and then come to a decision. And asking for your girlfriend's input on something is how relationships work.
Yeah,
like that's not silly.
But
there's some other. There's a bit about like Twistzz was part of the reason. Oh no, Zeus said they didn't want Elige back. I think. I can't remember which way around it.
Zeus cut Elige, but Elige came back. I presume this was about the past because again, I've only seen snippets as well. But like they cut Elige and then he came back after a month because they couldn't find a replacement. Twistzz vetoed bringing Elige back, which I think is kind of mental. To be honest,
again, it's a personality thing, though, isn't it?
Well,
there's a reason they cut him in the first place.
So it's either the personality thing, or it's that Twistzz, you know, he wants to be in the roles he's in, and if Elige comes back, Elige has those roles, and Twistzz goes into the roles that he probably should be in.
Yeah, but again, that is. I mean, I don't think it's entirely unreasonable to veto a signing because he's going to take your positions.
No, yeah, as well, I think it's fine. I mean, Twistzz and Cadian really not getting along.
So, yeah, we know. we can read between the lines. We know.
It doesn't surprise me. Who's going to be the problem in that? Probably both of them. Like, does it surprise me that players like Twistzz and Cadian, who are nice enough people from the times I've met them, Like, Cadian
Yeah.
always seems down to have a chat and a laugh. If you end up like at a bar next to him, he's not gonna like look down upon you like I've seen certain people do. He won't push past you. He's generally quite polite. Twistzz
Yeah.
keeps himself to himself, but he's nice to interview, like when he actually does them. That is. But we know what they're like as professionals as well.
Yeah.
They're quite well documented. They are two players that it's either gonna fucking work and they're gonna win everything, or it's not gonna work and they're going to try and murder each other. Like, why are we surprised by this? Players like that have egos.
Mm-hmm.
If it boils over, it boils over. This will happen in every fucking competitive team-based sport you can think of. It's just that we're in an industry that is quite unprofessional in a lot of aspects.
Yeah.
Like,
for example, your coach going on a podcast and saying you bought NBA tickets for Carragher.
yeah, like, can you imagine that happening in football? When would that happen in football? The closest that we ever have to that in football is in the last couple of years when some dickhead decided it was a good idea to let Amazon film Jose Mourinho talking to Danny Rose. Which, by the way, we shouldn't get to see shit like that. It's fucking great we do. It's great entertainment. Shouldn't happen, though.
There's
I'll
a very
enjoy it, but it
famous...
does.
There's a very famous documentary in League of Legends. It's also from Team Liquid called Breaking Point, which is quite an amusing watch, but it's like the sort of thing, again, you just shouldn't see. Like, you see players fucking going for each other's throats. It's like, I shouldn't see this. This shouldn't be filmed.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like, I'm excited for the day that Counter-Strike has something that's similar to All or Nothing or Drive to Survive. And I think it'll be really cool. But believe me, there are things that go on in Counter-Strike teams and at Counter-Strike events that will not be allowed to go in that.
Yeah.
Exactly. An org will kick up the biggest fuss imaginable until that is left on the cutting room floor.
Like, Falcon said a player changed his mouse and it caused a fucking storm.
Yeah. Like, it's just... Esports is unprofessional. As professional as it is... Like, look what happened in... I don't know if you saw it, what happened in Rainbow Six?
No.
This week? But it might have been Rocket League. I think it was Rainbow Six because it was Brazilians and Brazil's massive on Rainbow Six. So M80 lost a game to... team called it's sh1ro something. I don't think it's Zero Tenacity.
I don't know.
But I think it's sh1ro something. Anyway, they lose a game. Their coach and manager just makes a beeline for the other team's booth and he's just screaming in the other team's face. Like, full on just shouting, like trying to stop this one kid from moving. And the manager or the coach, I don't know which one he is, fucking big bloke. I presume it's the coach. He's a big bloke. He's been suspended for like 2 years. Like, he's fucked. Like, it's just a thing where this happens, and this happens in other sports as well. Like, there's the one with was it Thomas Tuchel and Antonio Conte? Those two, the handshake incident.
I seem to remember, yeah.
Yeah. So this happens everywhere. The difference is that in esports, they just go on a podcast and talk about it.
Yeah.
They'll just tweet about it. Like, this is gonna happen. You probably shouldn't be surprised by this. You probably shouldn't be surprised that people have flaws and, oh, he's not the teammate I thought he would be. Fuck off.
Yeah,
like,
you don't have to play with him.
He's just someone who wants to win. Like, if your issue is that he's a bit of a prick, then I hate to tell you, but you don't like any of the top players.
Yeah, they're always going to be a little bit egotistical.
They're probably all going to be
difficult
bastards.
to work with.
Except for the ones that are like 18, 19, and I promise you by the time they're Twistzz age, they're going to be bastards.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they will be. You think Munacy... I mean, maybe zews is nice, actually. Like, I can't imagine zews being a prick.
I feel like he has to have some ego, though.
Look, if he doesn't, then he's got some exceptional... If he does, I mean, he's got some exceptional media training because, like, he has never once hinted at having an ego. Like,
I think Vitality, as it goes, are probably the most professional org, though. Like, they don't... Yeah, you don't hear a peep out of them.
That is very fair. They are pretty well drilled. But yeah, mate, Munacy stays in G2 for years. Mate, by 21, actually, how old is he? I don't know.
I think he's 20 now. He might be 21.
Oh, he's 19 still. I thought he was at least 20.
God, he's still. That's so sad. But how is he still 19?
Bro.
Fuck off.
Bro, by like 22, 23, if he sticks with G2 much longer, he will be a cunt. Like, he will not be a nice person. And I won't fucking blame him. Because fuck having to deal with snacks. And I think with that, with a cunt to bookend the episode,
Yeah.
I think we're probably done for the week. Next week, I don't have a fucking clue what we'll talk about. Is anything going to happen in the coming week? Oh, Clue starts in 3 days. Oh, I know what I'm going to talk about. That's going to be fucking good. Side note, when were they Imperial Valkyries again? I swear they were Imperial female. They were Imperial Valkyries when they got signed and then they dropped it and now they're Valkyries again.
I don't know. I know ESL were big on not calling the teams female. So I would have assumed it was an ESL directive to be Imperial Valkyries, but I don't know.
Either way, you better pray they win a game. Because if not, I'm gonna crash out. But yeah, I've been Sam. My Twitter's at AnimoCS2 with a 1. He's Elliot. It's at AZS. You can add a Twitter famous before the AZS. It's fine. Not anymore though. Bit shit now.
No, not anymore.
Your numbers are looking quite disappointing.
Yeah, what can I say?
There's James and Mac. Elliot knows their Twitters.
Yeah, you got upset at me yesterday, so let's shout out Spilt Chips and Dickles. What's Dickles?
Isn't it just at CS?
Dickle CS. There you go.
Also,
I don't even think he doesn't tweet much anymore either.
There's also Nova H Design. He's a good bloke.
No, don't follow him. Don't follow him. So Dickle's last tweet was in the middle of December, and it just said Crump 1 major.
Yeah, but what if Donk was named Crump? And more importantly than that, follow TLDR, subscribe to the newsletter, and I'll be back in a week with Elliot's head on a pike.
Can't wait.
All right, bye.